This is Ijaz Jamil from SOALIB Incorporated. Today we are going to present a web seminar, Heterogeneous Application using SOALIB. I hope that you can all hear me. If you cannot hear me, just send me a question so I can see what I can do from here. I am the Chief Architect of SOALIB Incorporated, and I'm the original coder of SOALIB and also designed the SOALIB software. In this webinar, I'm going to present how this software can be used in various applications as far as heterogeneous application is concerned. In this first slide, you can see that there is a small application here at the small what I would say is hardware in the middle of the screen, and let me highlight that. Here you can see there's a box here, which is this one. And this is SOALIB running inside, and you can see this can connect to mainframe. It can also connect to databases. It can connect to Java applications, .NET applications, legacy applications, any other SOA-based applications, and also mobile and definitely embedded systems. What I'm going to cover today is an overview of SOALIB. There is an advanced level course on SOALIB. Let's go to the next slide. While I change the slide, I just want to make sure that you are all listening, able to listen to me. And if you are not able to listen to me, then just let me know. There is a little bit of system problem here. A number of people are trying to sign up, and just like to wait for them. People are signing up now. I'd like to arrange the slides a little bit here. This is our next slide. I'm going to discuss about SOALIB. Let's before I go into SOALIB discussion, I'd like to explain what is heterogeneity. Heterogeneity is using of different kind of data in various systems. And for example, we have in this picture at the middle of the screen there is a heterogeneous integration bus. It's a kind of a bus that you can assume that where all the documents pass, and most of these documents are XML based. And you can see the data, industrial, consumer, and business processes, all kind of data is passing through the common heterogeneous bus. And most of these data is formatted in XML format, and that's why we can communicate with each other. You can see on the bottom left corner we have programming languages, multiple programming language can actually send XML data. Devices, as far as mobile, embedded systems, and other consumer devices is concerned, they can all pass through this heterogeneous media. Legacy and global application can also do that. And heterogeneous integration is important because too much data is spread across heterogeneous systems. So, most of the systems across the industry is heterogeneous. So people are using different mobile devices, embedded systems, PCs, servers, databases. Everything is heterogeneous. The mainframe is also one of the most important area where most of the data is stored. Legacy systems will remain, and definitely people have developed a lot of software in legacy architecture. They're not going to get rid of that very soon. Robust software take a lot of time. New products could be released quickly if there is a heterogeneous system of communication. And heterogeneous system of communication enhances quality of product. And it also definitely reduces cost because of code reuse. And programming languages will keep on growing. You see programming languages, there are new programming languages coming out almost every year. It integrates with embedded system to mainframe because that's the purpose of the whole exercise of integrating everything. Businesses work efficiently because there are already software available to do something. Why SOA is the right choice? SOA is the right choice because it's a standards-based information sharing. Each entity is exposed as a service, so any other service can actually consume the service which is already running and exposed. Each service is loosely coupled. Therefore, there are some question about a lot of echo there. So let's see if the echo is gone. Let me know. This broadcast is going to be only on the web. Okay, so the echo is gone, I guess. Let me repeat what I've just said because I think because of the echo, you're not able to listen clearly what happened, what I just said. I was talking about the importance of heterogeneity, and heterogeneous application can actually communicate with various devices, software, and can be used in various applications. And then I discussed about importance of heterogeneous integration. These slides will be available on the web, and I will send emails to each one of you when they are available. It will be available today. Each service is loosely coupled in SOA, so any other system, external system, can start using the services exposed by service-oriented architecture. Services could be discoverable because services can be discovered. Any third-party application can search the service and bind the service at runtime. Industry-wide acceptance in terms of programming languages. Service-oriented architecture is supported by many programming languages currently, like Java and .NET are the top 2 programming languages that has built-in support of web services, and also REST. Data can be uniformly represented by XML, and we will go over that shortly. Global reuse. Data can be reused if it is heterogeneous. Extensible specification, and service-oriented architecture is extensible. Standards are continuously being adapted, new standards are coming out, and there is no limitation in where a service-oriented architecture can be used. In this document, we are trying to make heterogeneous system into a homogeneous system, and the way we do it is by using XML, standards-based XML formatted document. And you can see from the previous slide and this one from here, this is the same slide. What we did is all this communication with the heterogeneous bus is now passing through XML, and it is now homogeneous as far as heterogeneous integration bus is concerned at the middle, which is in the center of the arrow. Heterogeneous bus can be thought of as an enterprise service bus, and this bus contains any kind of XML formatted document, or it can, and it does support a number of different transport. One of the transports supported is HTTP, which is the general transport, but in Java it is JMS is also supported, and FTP and this MTP are the 2 protocols transports that also are being supported by Enterprise Service Bus. So you can think Enterprise Service Bus as one of the kind of router and translator. It takes those XML documents that is fed by different processes or entities, as you can see at the top and the bottom side. And these XML documents must be passed using some kind of transport protocol like HTTP, JMS, FTP, SMTP, and Enterprise Service Bus translates them and routes them to the right destination. So if I want to pass data to a business process, it passes through Enterprise Service Bus and received by the business process object. Now all share the same bus over common network. So in this slide, you can see that this entire slide is now shortened or minimized, scaled into a small boxes. There are 4 small boxes which actually represent 4 such enterprise service bus, which is now tied to another common enterprise service bus, and they can be the same enterprise service bus. And because now everybody shares the same bus, they can share each other's service. And you see there is a small puzzle piece going to the internet, and these puzzle pieces I indicate that they are actually services. So they are the discoverable services in puzzle piece. I'd like to interrupt a little bit because I want to make sure that this you can see what I'm drawing on the screen. If you cannot see this screen, let me know. I circled the discoverable service here, and this puzzle piece is a discoverable service we will use in throughout this presentation. Now let's see what each of these discoverable services have. Now we have a service which is this, but this is internal of the service, and we want to make it converted into a global service. That means that we have to expose this service using some kind of standards-based protocol. The way we do it is using WSDL, and same way, if somebody wants to consume the service, have to actually bind to the WSDL. And these WSDL are one of the web services standard. And web services is not service-oriented. They are not the same thing. Web services is a realization of service-oriented architecture. And throughout these slides, I will actually focus on web services, because web services are the ones that are discoverable. And there are no other standards out there which actually says that SOA, actually the implementation of discoverable services, and throughout these slides I'm going to focus on web services. And you can see that this individual service is now part of the available services on the internet. You see there are other services available on the internet, and by exposing the service and building a client for it, we are actually feeding these to the internet, and that becomes a discoverable service now. Each entity have to develop SOA services, which means that all the entities we showed in our previous slide. Let's go back to the slide here. Indeed, these are the entities, and each of these entities have to provide their own services, which have to be tied to the service bus, so everybody can actually see the service and then consume the service. So we are now here. What is needed? We need to design, implement, test, and integrate the service. And these are the core logic. This is the core logic of the service, and this is the service layer we are adding on the core logic. And this becomes one of the service component on the internet. And to do this, we need to build a team to actually write a service on top of the core logic, and also write the client for each of these services. And this will cost us money, time, money, and it costs us training, equipment, and also if there isn't enough experience, then definitely the project will fail, or it will not be delivered on time. Some services are common. If somebody is building a web service, there are a number of common services they need. One of them is a login and user authentication. Anybody who wants to consume the service have to log into the service, sign up with the service, and there's some kind of authentication. Not all services will be allowed by everybody. And some services, some applications require data access, accessing databases, accessing files, accessing the internet for some reason, for some resources, for example. Some service requires scheduling. That means that if I want to do something periodically, or at a given time, you want to process some information. Remote file access and transfer. For example, I want to access a mainframe or a server file. These are common things that a web service may need. Peer-to-peer messaging. One service like to contact to another service. It's called peer-to-peer messaging. That can be a requirement of one of the services. Load balancing is one of the important areas. Connectivity to databases or GMS servers, or file system, servers are one of the requirements of having a common service. Security is one of the most important areas. All these services may be ready-madely available, and you do not have to write them. It may be just ready for you, just like SOALIB. SOALIB have all of these services ready for you. You don't have to write them and spend like years in exercise of building these services. So the idea is when you are building a service, determine common services and then speed up development by using ready-made services. Same thing with the clients, because you're building a service, you have to build clients for that. Same thing, if the service is available, use the clients of those services. Save costs by using ready-made services. That's what where we are leading to. By using SOALIB, you are saving time because many of these services are implemented for you, saving money, and training. You will save somewhat on training as well, and I'm not saying that it will be totally eliminated, totally gone, because you are building services on your own and just want to use the services that will that is already available as ready-made. And equipment will be reduced because all of these SOALIB services are already tested. And one other thing, all the core services that your core logic will use using SOALIB are actually operational on Java, J2ME, C, C++, C#, and .NET languages. So by using SOALIB, you are eliminating the need to write clients in each of these various popular programming languages. So there is a chance that you will succeed and also save a lot of time in building your own services by reusing some of these ready-made SOALIB services. So what is SOALIB? SOALIB is a set of standards compliant web services that works on multiple operating environments. Now, multiple operating environment is multiple operating system, multiple programming languages, multiple application server, multiple hardware platforms, and mobile platform ready, so it works from embedded systems and also in mobile devices like mobile phones, cell phones. It supports up to 24 popular databases and embedded systems ready. Now, what is operating system? What operating systems are covered? In this slide, the multiple operating environment means that it supports multiple operating system, which covers pretty, in general, popular most of the operating system like Windows, Linux, Solaris, Mac OS X. All of those are supported. And on the other more programming languages, it's on the server side it is all Java. On the client side it supports all of these J2ME, C, C++, C#, and any other .NET language like VB.NET or ASP.NET. It also supports Java Application Server. And now go back to application servers. It supports any servlet 2.4 ready application server, which covers like Tomcat is definitely supported, and WebLogic, WebSphere, JBoss, Glassfish, and many other application server you can think about. Hardware platform, it works on most of the processor-based Intel, Solaris, Spark, most of that, because this is Java-based, so processor doesn't matter. The server is Java-based. And you see there's a big service here, which is now the puzzle piece. we are going to build this puzzle piece, which is service. Now, each of these services have to be constructed. The way you construct with SOALIB is that SOALIB gives you a number of puzzle pieces, which is services. You use those services to build your service in a layer by layer basis. In this diagram, you see the advantage of using SOALIB is that it is secure. It saves you time. The storage of SOALIB connectivity is all encrypted, and it also saves you money because you are saving on time, and you do not have to test a lot, because some of these puzzle pieces are given to you, which are like SOALIB services. And we will discuss about the details about SOALIB services shortly. Some of these services will be part of SOALIB services, and these clients are also provided to you. Now again, go back to puzzle pieces. Now let's say that using these layered approach, these are the SOALIB services which SOALIB gives you, and using these services you are building two services, which is service A and service B. And for those two services, service A and service B, you are exposing them on the internet. So people on the internet will discover only services A and B, not the SOALIB services, because you have hidden the SOALIB services in layered. All the other puzzles that you are using to build your service will be hidden, and you will be exposing only the two services. Now, what I mean by exposing are the publishing of WSDL. So you will publish WSDL of A and B. You do not have to publish WSDL of the other puzzle piece that SOALIB provides you. And what services are available? SOALIB provides a number of web services which you can use to build your own application. iAccount is the connectivity. iAdmin is administration, service administration, account administration. iConnection is the connectivity. iSecurity is to make your services secure, insecure, and create certificate. SOALIB services, error messages are description of error messages. If a service throws exception, then you look at this service to get the description of the error messages. iUpdate is a software update service, and this is a scheduled service that we talked about. And all these services and these services are part of utility services. Utility services, you do not have to really use it, but if you use it in a particular application, you can combine them and use them in your own application if you need. But these core services, you need to use them to use these utility services. Now let's go into detail. Now what is iAccount? iAccount provides you the authentication related services, and iAdmin gives you the administrative related API for web services. And client iConnection provides you the connectivity to different tunnels, databases, and so on. Security is for WS security and any kind of security in the web service. SOALIB is a general purpose API to see what services are available, what is the version, and what is the URL to consume the service. iError messages is a service that I already explained. And let's go to the next slide. These are the utility services. Balance for load balancing. Batch is a batch processing. iFile is a file access, remote file access. So if I want to access different file over the internet, you can use iFile service. Report is a report generation, a special service that generates reports on databases. iSocket is a socket level API to connect to different servers using socket. iMessage is a different messaging. It's a very powerful service, so you can send messages to other services, and this is one of the features that we use in multiple heterogeneous system integration. And iMail is a mail API which you can use from the web service. And this is one of the most important and strength, I would say, of SOALIB is that it can do bidirectional data synchronization in a heterogeneous form. So you can connect to different databases over the web service and then do a bidirectional synchronization based on mapper. And when you create a mapper using this, and can be mixed with other databases, data can be mixed with other data. So if you want to concatenate, you do some computation, it can be done with Mixer, and query is a data access level API. And finally, the payment is a payment processing engine, like if you want to process credit cards. Now, what is the advantage of using SOALIB client? SOALIB gives you the power to integrate a large number of devices. You can see on the embedded systems, you can use the embedded C++ API to connect, the C API to connect. C++ can also be used on the embedded systems. For mobile devices, there is a mobile phone API for you, .NET for Windows application, and definitely Java. So this can communicate with each other. So you can just draw any kind of line, you will be able to communicate. And this is one of the application. Here you see these lines are connected, where it just says that any mobile phone can communicate with another mobile phone using SOALIB API. So if you are building a mobile application, and if you want your mobile data to be shared by other phones or a particular phone, then you can use SOALIB. And for those to happen, you can use one of these API services. So one of these services can be used. In other application example is if you have a mobile application, mobile phone wants to access a enterprise database, then you can use iDatabase Sync and iQuery services to do that. And the third application example is we have this SOALIB service running in a server, and you want to have a C++ application. For example, RFID device doesn't have to be a Windows application or Linux, can be embedded application. And same thing, there's a point of sale device like a credit card machine. They can access the database using SOALIB and using these database sync and iQuery, and that is also definitely one other API is iMessage. Application example 4, you have this SOALIB working in sync with other third-party SOA services which uses SOALIB API. So if these third-party application uses SOALIB API, they will be able to, through SOALIB, can communicate with like C++ or databases. So if you have existing services already built, you can just use SOALIB's API to connect to other application written using SOALIB. Or you can access databases which doesn't have to be written in SOALIB. For those to happen, you can just use these services over here. Example number 5. Here we are showing that there is an embedded application and there is also mobile application. And this third-party application, which could be your application, would like to actually use a mobile phone. There's another third-party application wants to use the database, and this application would like to use the mobile phone. This is one of the example of heterogeneity, is that each is using other services and each one is not actually interfering with other. For example, third-party services is talking to this mobile phone, and also there is another C++ application talking to the mobile phone, and these are separate instances. This communication data will be totally isolated from these data. Application example 6 is the bidirectional heterogeneous synchronization example, and so you can do bidirectional heterogeneous synchronization, and there is a large list of 24 databases, and which covers all of the popular databases like Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, Sybase, DB2, all of them. You can have instance-based synchronization, so at any time you can have multiple synchronization running at the same time as an instance. So, and it can be many to many. So this can sync with another database, and this can sync with another database. Excuse me. So this is a many-to-many synchronization example, and let's go to many-to-one synchronization example. Is you have two databases out on different server and want to synchronize with a single database, which is called many-to-one database synchronization. Can also be done with SOALIB services, and these are the services you need to make it happen. Finally, the load balancing API services which can be used. You can actually cascade multiple SOALIB services to actually load balance them. In this, the first SOALIB service, embedded systems, is connected to mobile devices and also third-party application. You can add another SOALIB services, which, if there is no link, if there is no connection here, then it was connected to third-party application to mainframe. So it was allowing third-party applications to connect to the mainframe. Now, when these two are actually connected, then all these network, one can share the network of the other. It is like connecting a cable to your internet. When you have internet, you can see the entire network. Same with SOALIB. Now, client-side coding, we have tried to make coding as easy as possible, and I will show you in a few slides later how easy it is to code using your client API, which we have provided. It will actually take you 3 to 4 lines to write a simple web service code. So very easy to program using SOALIB API. And we are shipped with plenty of SOALIB examples. So you can, a lot of documentation. And if there are questions you have, you can certainly contact SOALIB, and we will help you and get you running at free of cost. And there are also free courses available to use SOALIB. Now here's an example of Java client connecting to a web service. And you can see in just 4 lines, I'm connecting and consuming a service called iSOALIB. And I showed you that iSOALIB is one of the common services which we offer. So in 5 lines, you are consuming a service, and in some of the application examples that we provide in SOALIB samples, uh, like data synchronization and that sort of examples. The maximum lines you can see is probably 10 or 15 lines and does a lot of things. And what this program is doing is calling a get info method in the service to get the information of what the service is providing. And all associated jar files are included with the client. So when you are writing application, you can just freely distribute the jar files that actually build the services. Let's go to the mobile phone. If you have a Java J2ME application, mobile application, and that supports Java, 99% of mobile phones today support Java except probably the popular Apple iPhone. But for Apple, you can use C API. So we have C API for iPhone, which you can use in iPhone. Let's see that. Let's think that you are using J2ME API, and then to consume a web service using your J2ME, we just need 3 lines of code. All the API and the jar files are included with SOALIB, and the examples do come with examples on how to use SOALIB in a mobile environment. So you can use this API to send messages to other mobile phones, and there are examples you can run. Here's example C example, and C example is probably the simplest example, is that it just does it in 3 lines. Once you link the library files that SOALIB provides, in 3 lines you can consume SOALIB web services. And again, it calls the get info message in SOALIB. And this is a C# example, which is .NET. And you can see that in 4 lines you can consume the service of SOALIB services, same get info service that we were doing it in a couple of minutes ago. So throughout these examples, the 4 examples that I presented gives you an overview of the ease of use of SOALIB API. And we made it simpler, easier, because most of the people out there wouldn't like to know every details of how a service works, and it is usually a difficult and challenging task to understand what a service does internally. And then we wanted to actually tell our customers that you do not have to know every internals of a SOALIB service. You just can go ahead and use the API, and that's all you need. A SOALIB client API library is shipped for free with all SOALIB server. The client libraries contain a lot of examples, and you can have these client libraries running within an hour in your own application. If you want to know about more latest events that is coming out, you can go to this website. You can write it down, and there are new events that is coming up at no cost to you. Most of them are free. We cover a lot of things about SOA in general, and also SOALIB. Most of these will be available over the web. Like, for example, the slides are going to be available shortly after I finish this session. Now, my formal presentation is done. I'm going to show now the examples. I have a number of examples that I'm going to show. I'm going to use the Eclipse API, and this is Eclipse application development tool, which is free for our Java example. This is an example you can download from our site soalib.com, and you can see we'll find this examples. And here there is an example named client inquiry. What it does is call the web service and say the the important part are the 3 lines that I call here. So these 3 lines actually connects to the web service and actually does the real work. And all these are just creating a class and then calling the method, which you have to do for any Java application. So I'm going to run this thing. It is connected to a web service now, and the way you do it in your own application is there is a class name info.java where we provide the web service URL. So this is the web service URL where it runs. This is the service URL, and once you download your the service and install the service in your own PC, you will have a different web service URL. Make sure that you enter the right service URL. And here, definitely, probably, if you're running from your own laptop or computer, you'll probably put the local host here and port number where your excuse me. And then this is the actual URL of the service running. The username and password is the username and password you create during installation of the service. All these are very instructed in very detail in our website and also the manual. Now let's run this application. So I will go ahead and run this client inquiry, and it is trying to connect to the service, and it's also already came up with the result. And let's zoom that and see what it's showing us. Is that saying that this is one of the sample that we have provided to New York Health Department, and this is one of the these are the supported databases here, and these are the supported server endpoints. So these are. And your service, when you download yours, you will see the same kind of response. But things will change. In your case, it will probably not it will probably showing a demo version instead of a real working full version. Now I'm going to show you the mobile API also. This is the mobile example. And when you use NetBeans, this example will be using NetBeans, because NetBeans have a very nice mobile development API, and also the tools necessary to very quickly develop mobile phone API. If you're using iPhone comes with their own development tool. You need to use C API for that. And let's run this. Let's build this and then run it. Let's build this application, and then we are going to run this thing from the mobile phone. This is a simulator, so it will act the same way that your mobile phone will work. You just have to download the your mobile phone's API from the respective vendor. So if you have a Verizon phone, if you have a BlackBerry, then you have to go to BlackBerry and download their own mobile API for NetBeans. So let's run it. Shortly after a few seconds, you will see a mobile phone is being displayed here. If you are using your vendor's API, then, for example, if you are using BlackBerry, then a BlackBerry bit will be displayed here. I'm going to use this example client inquiry, which I used in the previous Java example. So I'm going to launch it. When I launch it, you see this asking at real time if it has permission to access the web service. And in your case, in a real situation, if you're working in a real phone, you will see a different kind of display than this one. Probably say that it is not allowed or something. You have to change the security setting. Assuming that you have internet access, you have to have internet access from your mobile phone. So when I say yes, it returned the same information. You see, I got the same information in the Java example, same information which I got it here. The mobile phone is returning the exactly same information. So this is these are the two examples I'm going to cover in this webinar, and I will dedicate it about 6 to 7 minutes in answering questions. And there are a number of questions I can see. One of the questions here is, why would I want to use, let's see, why would I want to use SOALIB in developing an ESB? How can it help me building components? Okay, that's a very good question. The reason you want to use SOALIB is you are not building an ESB definitely. If you want to use it in an ESB, then you can use it. Or you can just use the services. Basically, let's go back to the example, the slides that I actually presented to answer your question. Let's go back to the slides. Now we'll come back. I will go to this slide here. Let's see. All right, let's come to this slide. The reason you want to use SOALIB is to save time on time to build your own service. As I say, that this is, for example, is your own service you want building. Some of these services are built in, provided to you, and you do not have to have a have to rewrite them. Like messaging, clients written different programming languages, and you have a data synchronization, for example, in your web service you want to use. So all these services are written for you, and you can just, in your own application, use these services, consume these services, and build your own application. You're building a bigger service, for example. You're building a, for example, banking software or insurance software. And in that software, you want to have connectivity. You want to access other servers. You have to probably want to have some kind of synchronization to other databases. You probably have to have reporting API. All these services are provided for you, and your own service. In the next example, you're building services A and services B, and all these services are relying on some of the services that SOALIB provides and some of the services that you write. And that's how SOALIB, you can take advantage of SOALIB. Any other question? Another possible use of SOALIB is probably the governance area. It's not used, actually. The part of the governance is, you know, if you want to implement your own service, then you have to follow the rule of governance. You have to have governance inside. Now, because you are using SOALIB services, here in our company, we have our own governance. So we make sure that whatever we provide to our customer are compatible with the previous version. So we take care of the governance. So in your own company, you do not have to have governance using as far as the SOALIB services are concerned, because we at SOALIB take care of the governance. There is another question. If we propose SOALIB to a client, okay, how can we estimate that how much time will clients save? Okay. The question is, if SOALIB is used in one of the clients, for example, then how much time will be saved? If you use exclusively SOALIB API, not your API, not like A and B, but you are using some of this internal API, then zero time is saved. When you do not need to actually spend any time in your client, because these clients are totally working. Now, if you have a client A and B, then you have to write your own client. The way most of the time people do things is they have us build the client side, because we can, once you provide us the WSDL, we build clients for different platforms. We can build clients for you if you want if you use your SOALIB for your development. And some of the time we build clients for free. Some of them at very minimal cost, so it will not. So you can build your own server side, and we manage the client side. The clients are very automated in SOALIB. Client development is quite easy in SOALIB. So we understood how to write clients for different programming languages, different platforms, different security environments. Another thing I want to bring is that SOALIB is WS Secure ready, WS Security ready. It works through WS Security version 1.1. It also works through HTTPS 1.1. So you can combine both of those to build a very secure service. There is another question. Does SOALIB development I have to go to that. Okay, does SOALIB follows development and standard guidelines if the client is particular about guidelines? Okay. SOALIB uses the latest services standard. So anytime that is coming out latest, it's standards based. So if you use SOALIB in your own development, we make sure that it is following the standard. So the reason we ensure that is because we test it with previous standard and also existing standard. Our application works with both previous standard and existing standard. And in our automatic testing, we ensure that it is working, it is standards based, and it is operational with previous version. Excuse me. So we have 1 minute left here, and I can, if there are any other questions, I can certainly answer. There are new courses we are going to offer on SOALIB, and coming up next month. There is one coming up in. There is another webinar coming up this month. There is one on the 21st. It's SOA on demand. I will show you. Go to the website and show you what is that course about. If you go to our website, SOALIB.com, let's go to the website. Let's, here is our website. And if you go to the site, you will see that there are a number of free courses we are offering. One of them is on demand, so which is going to be on the 21st. You can freely sign up for that. There's no cost to it, and I will certainly encourage you to sign up. So And also there is another one coming up on the June 8th. It's SOA project planning, which I will be instructing. And other paid courses, there is also advanced SOALIB. If you are using in your project, we encourage you to actually enroll in that course. That is not free because we will cover many topics. And there's also another one on the June 15, which is advanced SOA project planning, which is a follow-up of this course, which is free. I have a number of number of questions. I have it here. Okay, another question is, if another system already has service exposed in a particular SaaS, can use SOALIB? Yes. The question is that if there is a another system already exposed as service, can it use SOALIB? SOALIB is a service by itself, so you have to have SOALIB services running somewhere. But SaaS, here's the thing that SaaS is another place where you can use SOALIB, certainly. But as I mentioned, that you are using SOALIB services in your own application. And if you already have services which is not based on SOALIB, then there isn't much you can do with SOALIB API. There's another question is, what do you give for free and what do you sell? Okay. We give for free is anything that you want to develop yourself and not sell it, you can use it for free. So if you're developing an application and you're just for learning purposes, you are using, you can download it, SOALIB for free, and then develop anything that you want. And then when it comes to generating revenue, if you believe that your application will generate revenue, we just ask you to buy our licensed copy. If you don't have any plan, it's just a learning purpose, then there's no need for you to worry about paying us. So another question is, what are SOALIB server requirements? Capacity. Okay. SOALIB server requirements very minimal. As you know that in some of my slides, I have showed you embedded devices. For example, this one. And this just shows you that what is the minimum requirement of SOALIB. Its requirements are so small. SOALIB manages memory so efficiently that we are able to put the entire application in a small 512 megabyte geode processor-based server. So we have a AMD geode which is a embedded PC, which you can definitely understand that if I mention one laptop per child, which is a small mobile laptop kind of device introduced a few years ago. They use geode processor inside, and we use the same geode processors to. It cannot handle a lot of clients, but it does work. We have this thing as a separate device. We actually sell to OEM. The entire SOALIB can be now used from embedded systems. So that size and capacity is fairly minimal in the use of SOALIB. There is SOALIB is scalable, so when it detects that you are using a lot of memory, it will adjust memory allocation based on how much memory you have. So when you have a Java application server, which is allocating a lot of memory to the Java application server, it will actually scale based on how much you use. SOALIB uses runtime memory management, runtime class loading. If a class is not required, it unloads the class. It's basically Java virtual machine garbage collection. It uses its own garbage collection, so it just makes sure that unnecessary classes or unnecessary objects are not held in memory. There are a couple of more questions. If client wants to use its own hardware as server, is it okay? Yes, definitely. If you want to use SOALIB in your own server, in your own application, definitely if you want to sell your solution, you have to sell it in your own server. SOALIB is sold as a WAR file. It's an application, Java application, which you deploy in a Java application server. And in your own application, you can actually integrate it with your own WAR file. There is another question, is if client wants to use, okay, I think I answered that. So that's pretty much an overview of what SOALIB can do, and I will give you my contact information, so you can send me any questions you have directly about SOALIB. I have developed SOALIB, started development SOALIB a few years back in 2004. And what I would do is, here's my email address. And just contact me with any question. Go to our website and download and test it out if it worked for you. It is going to be a fun. I'm telling you that when you are able to communicate your mobile phone with another mobile phone, your mobile applications communicating with databases or your PCs, you can build an application that will be able, that can communicate with each other. We are coming up with a number of on-demand products using SOALIB, and one of them is actually SOA Sync on demand. SOA Sync is an application which is able to synchronize up to 24 databases over the internet bidirectionally based on Mapper. And we are coming up with on demand, and you can do the same thing. You can use SOALIB API to build your own on demand services which you can sell and then make money. And the course I would encourage you to attend is this course, is on-demand SOA, and that's where I will discuss how you can use SOALIB to build your own on-demand product, and then sell it like on a SaaS model, just like Salesforce is earning a lot of revenue selling on-demand stuff. You can just go ahead and use SOALIB. Within probably a few months, you can come up with a product from which you can actually generate revenue. And generate revenue is not something that I will focus on. I will just focus on how you can actually use SOALIB to build your own on-demand product. And this course on the 21st, which is on Thursday this week, I will encourage that you enroll in that course and then see what SOALIB has to offer, and within a short time you can build remarkable application using embedded systems or mobile phones accessing your server resources or databases or just about anything you can think of. So I am not getting any more questions, so I will wrap it up here. Thank you for joining the webinar, and look forward to meeting with you again on the next webinar on demand SOA. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of the week.